Hello again, EDF friends. On this video I want to talk about the Outpost base and my favorite ways to attack it with each class, as well as make this a conversation, so go ahead and let me know in the comments your favorite ways to attack this particular Outpost base. It does appear in multiple missions, including the DLC actually, but I'm primarily talking about here in Mission 41 here, although it does apply to other missions, because this is where you actually kill the base itself. Alright, now let's go on to the different guns that are on the actual Outpost base itself. Of course, there are the large genocide cannons, and then there are these smaller cannons which shoot out slow-moving missiles. This gun right here, they open up and shoot these slow-moving missiles. Then of course there are these blue plasma launchers which knock down buildings and knock you down, which are pretty annoying. And then these red machine gun, plasma machine guns here, which are the ones right here. And then these rotating plasma launchers as well up here that rotate left and right that shoot the green. And then of course once the base rises there are lasers. There are green lasers which are very, very damaging, and then the white lasers which are still pretty damaging but not as bad as the green ones. So usually for priority, when I want to attack the base, usually I recommend taking out these blue plasma launchers up here, and then also the ones that shoot the slow-moving rocket pods, and then of course the genocide cannons. These machine gun ones, plasma machine guns, aren't too dangerous. They're not much of a threat, and the ones that rotate aren't too bad either up there. But those are usually the priority I like to go for first: the plasma launchers, and then these genocide cannons. Then of course once the base rises, the green lasers are priority always first, and then the white lasers secondary. Now you can actually lock on to these cannons with your missile launchers, but I don't necessarily recommend missile launcher as the best attack weapon for each class, but we'll get to that here in a moment. Also, you can't shoot through the base right now with air raids, certain air raids, which I'll cover which ones shoot through bases, but you can't shoot through it right now when the base is sitting on the ground here, but once it rises, then you can shoot through the base with certain air raids, which I'll cover later. The Outpost typically drops ants and colonists. Also, the feet of the base don't seem to hurt you. That of course is my assumption. I want to say close to 3,000 hours between the Japanese version and English version. I've never been hurt by the foot of the base, so I'm pretty sure you can't get hurt by it. And also there's not too many places to stand on underneath the base, which I'll show here in a moment once the base rises up. Alright, so this mission is time-based, so you can't really rush it ahead. You have to wait for these NPCs to walk all the way around the outside. And once they call an air raid on the base, then you'll know it's time that he's going to get up. So, once the base gets up, you can't damage the lasers until they start turning to look at you. But once the base does get up, you want to prioritize the green lasers first, and then the white lasers that are next to it underneath the base, because these are your most priority. These things kill your NPCs the fastest, and they kill you the fastest. They stun lock you in place and do a lot of damage, and they're very far range, so those are definitely your priorities. Then after that, I would say I recommend taking out these bigger guns, and then the plasma shots if you want to take out everything underneath the base, but mainly the lasers first, so you can actually get to the base itself and actually damage it. Because, you know, of course we all know this is a giant crab, so in order to damage it, you have to flip it on its back and then attack the creamy center for massive damage. Now, as far as standing on the base underneath, there's not too many places to stand underneath it. As you can see, you actually can fly through this stuff. It's actually not even a physical thing, but there are these hinges with the legs here that you can stand in with Wing Diver. This is like the only place I recommend to stand. It's still a battle to fight to stay up here, but as long as you have all those plasma cannons around the outside, like these things right here, as long as you have those things killed, you can stand here relatively safely and attack the base and be safe from the frogs that land. Sometimes you have a hinge that's bad and you'll fall through it, so you might have to change to a different hinge, but these things right here are the best place to stand on, in my opinion, for Wing Diver. Like I said, you want to make sure to kill the lasers first, of course, and those rocket things, those rocket pods, so they don't knock you down. But yeah. And that's pretty much all for the tips that I have so far, or facts. Now let's get into the weapons I like for each of the classes, and actually and actually how each class I like to attack the base specifically. Alright, first of all, let's talk about Ranger. Poor Ranger. Weakly, rickety, vulnerable Ranger. Anemic and feeble Ranger. Powerless, tender, limp. Okay, Ranger is a support class on... Okay, sorry. Ranger isn't bad on this mission. In fact, he's amongst... I would say he's amongst the top 4 classes to take on this mission, actually. So, for Ranger, what I would recommend taking for this mission is a fast-shooting rocket launcher. And the reason I say that is because unless you're playing, of course, on DLC, then of course you have access to the DLC snipers, which are good. But if you're playing on the main campaign, his snipers are not that great, unfortunately, and typically his fast-shooting rockets are a little bit better. So I'd recommend taking an E-series rocket. Usually those are pretty fast-shooting, and they shoot pretty straight and accurate. And then, because he's going to be mainly fighting from far away. And then, of course, for my second weapon, I would take a shotgun. And the reason I take a shotgun is primarily because you'll probably be the one defending the ants that attack the other group as they attack the base. So it's more of a support role to help out the other team by killing the ants and just getting close to the base once the lasers are sniped, and just killing the ants for the team, and then doing some shots on the base with your rocket launcher. So that's primarily what I'd recommend for Ranger. He's probably going to be staying further away. You can also take a railgun, is also for range if you want as well, which could be a possibility. But that's primarily the weapons I would recommend taking for Ranger. Now on to Wing Diver. For Wing Diver, and I will show, actually I will go actually start the mission and show for Wing Diver. For Wing Diver, I like taking, the first weapon I like taking is the Phalanx. The reason I like taking the Phalanx is because it has good range, and it does pretty high damage, and it's good to attack the base up close. She and Fencer are good at attacking the base up close, for the beginning part at least. So I like to take this weapon. And then for my second weapon, I think that her best weapon is, her best sniper, in my opinion, is the level 55 Plasma Great Cannon. It does a 36-meter blast. You can hit more than one laser at a time. For when the base rises, you actually can shoot the lasers out with this Plasma Great Cannon. It's better than her snipers, for the most part. So I would recommend that as your second weapon. If you don't have access to this, if you're playing lower than hardest, then you can also take, she has some other plasma guns that are long range and can shoot as well, pretty straight, like the Plasma Big Cannon, level 52. She has another Plasma Big Cannon, which is, where is it at? Level 10 for hard. You also can take the level 15, but this thing shoots very slowly. But but those are possibilities. Her plasma cannons are probably pretty good on this, in my opinion. Now let's go ahead and actually go out really quickly and show this really briefly. Alright, so I am playing on Inferno here. I have done this online on Inferno as well. The base is actually not as much, does not do as much damage as you would think it would to you on Inferno. These cannons that knock you down are pretty weak, which is kind of surprising. And these plasma machine guns are pretty weak. And of course the genocide cannons can't hit you while you're up here. So I recommend with Fencer and with Wing Diver to actually fight up here, on the base, and just get close to the guns and just kill them with your high damage weapons, such as the Phalanx. And I do recommend taking out these what are these called, the plasma cannons first, because these things will knock you down. And this thing is very strong, so you can take them out pretty quickly. But yeah, just stay up here on the base. Honestly, the drones miss you a lot because of the overhead, because the base blocks a lot of the drone shots, and just fly around and kill all the cannons for the team at the beginning here. And that also goes for Fencer, like I said. And then once, of course, the base rises, then you can stay further back behind NPCs and charge your Plasma Great Cannon, and then attack the green lasers and the white lasers from far away with the Plasma Great Cannon. And then, of course, you can go in and use the Phalanx again to attack the base itself and to defend. Now, as far as Air Raider goes, he's actually very good at this mission and makes the mission pretty fast. As far as the weapons I recommend Spritefall. First of all, let's talk about what shoots through the ship and what doesn't. Howitzers, mortars do not shoot through the ship. As far as the beacons, gunships, the rocket cannons do not. The 150s do. The 105s do. The Vulcan cannons do. The 120s do not. And the 190s, I honestly don't know. I think they do, but it doesn't. I really don't recommend them anyway. But I think the 190s do shoot through. As far as the bombers, the KM6s do. The bombing plans do not. Phobos's fire do not. Missiles, of course, do not. Bulge laser does. Spritefall does. So both of those shoot through. And I think that's everything. So anyway, like I said, I recommend for taking for my favorite thing for Air Raider is taking 2 Spritefalls, and then I'll take for my second weapon a beacon, either a 105 or a Vulcan cannon machine gun. One of those two. Everyone's better as far as your difficulty level that allows you to take. And then for my vehicle, I will take the Red Guard. Any of the red Nixes that are fast. That way you can jump underneath the ship and do damage to the ship once it's time to do that. That's why I like the Nixes specifically, and their canister shots are pretty strong on the base itself. But like I said, at the beginning part of the phase, you're not going to be able to shoot the Spritefalls through the ship. However, it's still beneficial as you can shoot on the edges of the ship and kill all the guns on the outside, and you get these things up very fast. So that's why I like the Spritefalls. And then once, of course, the base rises, you can just shoot the Spritefall through the entire ship, and you're constantly killing cannons and constantly getting this thing back up. It's very strong. And of course, if you're missing points, you need some more points to call another one. You can always call in the 105, to get more points, more kills. As far as Fencer goes, I would say Fencer is probably not too strong on this mission, in my opinion. He's more of a front lines fighter, helping out the team while they stand back and snipe things. I do like for Fencer, for the beginning part, you can jump up top on the base like I was showing with the Wing Diver earlier, and you can use, I like Jackhammer Shotgun just because of how much damage it outputs. So you can take Jackhammer Shotgun and just jump around the base and kill the lasers and the plasma cans and all that up close with these weapons. And like I said, you're going to find yourself not taking too much damage up there, so it's pretty good. And then once the base stands up, usually I like to just defend, kill the ants and the colonists for the team while they're sniping the lasers. However, if you do need to snipe with Fencer, the reason I don't like sniping with Fencer too much is because when you're sniping with him, you have to stand still for the most part and fire, so therefore he gets hit by those slow-moving plasma shots pretty easily, and it's tough for him to defend. So usually what I'll do is I'll take 35mm. Actually, I prefer the NC cannons. NC cannons with recoil item, 2 of those. And if you're going to have to snipe from far away, just get behind some NPCs and just snipe from far away, and you can kill them relatively quickly with this as well. But usually I prefer not to have to snipe if I don't need to as Fencer. But yeah, that's pretty much my favorite setups for each of the classes. Like I said, this does apply for the DLC as well. The only difference is the DLC has the base starting in the standing position, so you will need to actually attack it from far away, killing those lasers first before you can get close to it. But usually for the most part, the same weapons as well I like with each of the classes. But yeah, that's pretty much my tips for the walking base. Unfortunately, it's a long mission, and you do have to take out the lasers, but take it slow and carefully, and usually you can come out pretty victorious. So yeah, like I said, once again, sharing with me your favorite ways to attack the base, and once again, thanks a lot for watching, and remember, EDF doesn't leave men behind, it's for real. And also, if you're interested in ways to support the channel, please consider liking the video or sharing the channel with someone or watching a few ads, as it does help financially. It's very much appreciated. Thanks a lot.